Third time's a charm, and we are live. Third time's a charm, man. My apologies. We were having a couple technical issues that were all my fault. You sound wonderful from your famous Tom and Marty's bar in Binghamton, New York. What is the origin story here? We're going to talk all about how you got into golf and how you've become such a phenomenal character on Twitter and one of our favorite, most beloved members in the ISN Discord. But let's start big picture, because there still probably a lot of Inside Golf Podcast listeners that don't spend a lot of time on Twitter and are wondering who this Tom and Marty's guy is.
Yeah, so Tom and Marty served in the Navy in World War II. And in 1946, they came up here to Binghamton, which is about 3 hours from the city. And Tom and Marty's was born. And it was like the downtown bar that catered to like the politicians, doctors, lawyers. It was like, you know, a really fancy crowd here. And then Tom passed and his son took over. 20 years ago, I got my hands on it with my brother. And we've since, in the last 20 years, turned it into just this crazy bullshit college bar scene, which, as you notice, the bar's empty right now. In 16 days, the kids come back and my peace and quiet and my happy life is gone. And all of a sudden, it's just going to be pure madness for the next 9 months. I'm not complaining, but yeah, I'm enjoying my summer break here. But Tom and Marty's, big time college bar, going to be filled with a bunch of 21-year-olds every single night, starting in 16 days. So I'm enjoying
this is Binghamton University.
Yeah, Binghamton U. It's a SUNY school. And I'd probably say 60 to 70% are from the city, Long Island, or downstate. So It's got a very heavy downstate influence here, which, again, I've been doing for 20 years. So I know that scene quite well. One of your most famous contributors, Brian Kirshner, is a super upstate guy from Long Island. So I hit into his vibe instantly when I started talking with him, because I got 2,000 Brian Kirshner is going to be waiting outside the door starting in 2 weeks. Just scary as shit.
I'm not so sure about that. He's a pretty rare breed, but I knew you guys would hit it off. That was your audition for Inside Golf Pod. I listened to you on Tap and Birdie, and I thought you were phenomenal.
Yeah, I definitely had a good vibe with him, because, like I said, we have the same wavelength. Even though I'm an upstater, I've always been an upstater. You know, the Long Island sports junkie guy, I've known plenty of them.
Yeah, you guys are great together. How did the golf thing start for you? Because I found you basically through Brian, but one look at your Twitter profile, and you've become very engaged in the golf betting community, not just one of the most beloved members of our Discord, but on Twitter as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that when Twitter came about, Twitter was huge for the bar. I mean, I was on it all the time. It was a great way to interact and get to know the crowd. And for years, I had a real solid following of just Tom and Marty's customers, and I shot the shit with them. But if you look at the demographics of Twitter, all the college kids left, and they're all on Snap, or they're on Instagram. Yes. So I gravitated over to there, and, you know, particularly Instagram. So this account Tom and Marty's Twitter account became dormant. And then I made that really stupid tweet about Carl Yuan a couple of years ago.
Yeah. $5
for everyone. And all of a sudden, Twitter came alive again. So I got engaged with it again. And now I love the bar business, but I love golf even more. So starting from there, so in the last, 16 months, I enjoy the interaction on golf Twitter. Talking about golf and making stupid jokes is exactly what I like doing. So I've been doing it ever since, and it's just a real fun experience. So you can make it work for you on Twitter. You just got to make sure you know what audience you want to interact with, and then I just ignore all the other bullshit that you have on Twitter.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, there is a lot of bullshit on the Everything app, but I feel like you found a great community, particularly with ISN. We love you in the Discord. And your golf takes are pretty sound. Like, we're going to talk some real capital letter G today. But I know, we've all had our ups and downs with golf betting. I've had a lot of ups and downs this season as well. But you know your stuff, man.
I like to try to position myself as a smart square. Like, I'm not a super sharp guy. Like, when I go on Discord with you guys, I like to just sit back and listen to the really smart guys. I'll contribute fun and games. But, I like to come to the place where, while I don't get knee deep in the data, I do know everything, or not everything, but a lot about the players. And I've been listening to your course preview, which I'll just tout right here, right now. You need to know your course, especially if you're betting down the board like I do. I tend to bet in the 50s. You need to find course fits. So you need to have a course preview. And I've been listening to your course preview
I appreciate that.
wherever you've been for years now. So, and so I educate myself, and I know the players, and I know the fits. And then I like to shoot the shit either on Discord, or I do it all the time on Twitter too. And that's how I come about picking my players.
Yeah. How's this season been going for you? Because it's been up and down. It's been tough. I would say this year, particularly compared to last year, where last year, everything just seemed like it was going through the hoop. I just had this like magical year with outrights where it just felt like the players that made the most sense to win, it happened often during last season. Like Aaron Rye is a good example of it last year at the Wyndham. I don't know if we're going to get so fortunate at the Wyndham this year where like the player that makes the most sense statistically ends up winning. But Aaron Rye last year, I remember he was definitely on the most tip chart. He might have been 1 or 2 on the most tip chart. And he was literally the most accurate driver of the ball in the field and the best iron player in the field. And then he shows up at the Wyndham and he finishes top 10 in driving accuracy and leads the field in approach. And it's like, oh gosh, why isn't it that easy every single week?
Well, I'll say one thing. When you're betting down the board, your hit on Kitayama is like a textbook example of how I like to pick golfers and win golfers.
He was 41 though.
What's that? 41 on a weak field, he's down the board. On a weak field like that, 41 is down the board. You're not betting chalk with the 40. And you just see how he's unfolding. You get ahead of almost the data. So like you've been on Kitty for a while now, and you timed it perfectly because all those things you were predicting came together. He had a peak week and he won. And I've actually been pretty good with that for the last like month or so. I hit Ryan Fox that way. Goddard was a huge win for me. I had him at Scottish for 90, and I'd been calling it for a couple of weeks. I was like, this is where he's going to hit. When I hit Pat Gatter, I was pure tail. I'll really admit that. I didn't even like him, but so many smart guys were picking him. I was like, screw it. Threw 20 at 100 to 1, won some money. So I've been pretty good. And Knapp was a good bet last week. I have no regrets making that bet. He didn't get to the close, but everything I was saying about him, how he was going to peak here, came true. And that's, outright betting, you're going to have so many close calls. Like if you get discouraged by second or third place finishes, don't bet outright, because for every win you hit, you're going to have like 7 or 8 close calls. And I'm good with it. So Knapp, I called his peak, then hit a Griot. I had him when he lost to Campbell. Same thing. I made the bet for the right reasons, almost hit. Winning is so damn hard, but I'm seeing the board well. And I'm actually upset at Kitayama because Griot, I should have recognized his little post peak. And I've been wanting to tell you, I'd said it on Twitter a few times, I want to get back on Kitty. And I just didn't get there. So I actually regret that one.
That was one, and I get plenty of things wrong, including last week. Like your Knapp call. I didn't think Knapp was going to play well. I didn't think Goddard was going to play well, which he.
I totally faded him. Yeah. Here's the thing. He gave you a little shit on Twitter. He's giving me a little shit on Twitter. I don't mind that.
I don't mind it one bit.
Yeah, I don't want to be his buddy.
I was wrong.
Yeah, and I don't want to be his buddy. So if he's a little snippish, that means maybe he's a little competitive. So yeah, him getting snippish at you is more funny than it's anything I give a shit about.
I don't have one problem with it at all. The only thing that I would say is that I wish Golf Digest, and I get it. Listen, Golf Digest is in a different game than I am. Like at Inside Sports Network for my content and stuff, and on my podcast, we don't get paid. We don't get paid per like download really, or what? I mean, we technically do with YouTube, but like what I'm trying to do with my content is win and give people the best information so they win as well. That's the best marketing you could possibly do for the company is if you just hit winners.
It's long form.
Correct. Golf Digest is really in the business for clicks, right? They just want people to click on their article. So, I've said before to them, because I'm on their golf betting panel as well, and it's not unique to Golf Digest. I mean, Sports Illustrated does the same thing, but I don't know why they refer to us as experts, because that's not language I've ever used to describe myself in my 5 years of doing this. I'm not an expert at anything. And certainly, as much as I love the other contributors on the panel, our picks suck. Like, we're not experts at anything. But
when they're asking you to do single bullets, that's a really hard call. Yeah,
really hard. And I've actually done I've done amazing with the top tens and the matchups, but like, I've only hit on the PGA Tour 3 winners all season, and only one of the 3 was the one pick that I gave for Golf Digest. So like, Scotty Scheffler was the one technical winner at the PGA Championship that I did for Golf Digest. It's really hard to have one pick go well on those, when you're choosing one a week from an outright card that usually I like to bet a little bit farther down the board as well. So I usually bet 5 or 6 players too.
Yeah.
And I wish they would. I wish they wouldn't refer to us as experts.
I actually really enjoy that column though. And I give, like, Stephen Hennessy, I give him shit on Twitter every time, trying to stir up some trouble, because it's fun. If you're using that panel, though, as like strict golf betting advice, you're just not doing sports or golf gambling well. You go there, you guys have your little commentaries. It's enjoyable. I like the guys who you say are going to fade. I like that part even more. But you don't take it as anything more than as just something fun to click on. If you're using that content to make like hard money, real choices, you're definitely not playing golf betting right at all.
Right. Well, that the two things are at odds with each other. The job title and the job description are contradictory, because they want one sentence from you. In fact, I have gotten in trouble before for giving too much analysis, and they're like, dude, we literally want one sentence for you. So you can't even like give expert analysis, even if you were an expert, because that's not what the column is calling for. So that's the only thing where I'm like, well, if you gave me till Wednesday when I calculate ownership, if you want in-depth analysis, I am your guy. That's my whole life. I mean, I spend my entire life giving in-depth, detailed analysis. The one time where I don't go deep is on that column. But in fairness as well, I write that column on Monday before anything really even settles for me. So I change my mind a lot between Monday.
Oh, yeah, without question.
Got her up was still a big fade for me on Wednesday. He wasn't a guy for me. So that's where it's kind of like, you know what? Fair play. I will say, I spent 20 minutes glazing him up on my last podcast for the Ryder Cup. So I promise it's not a personal thing towards him as a player.
I'm a huge Got Her Up fan. Obviously, because I just hit him.
New Jersey guy.
And I had no interest in chasing him last week. I was like, he's coming off of 2 weeks that weren't just like good weeks. They were life-changing weeks. I mean, he came back to America a completely different person than when he left 2 weeks before.
And I was feeling myself too at that point.
Yeah, and he needed nothing from playing in the 3. I'll give him credit for playing. I thought he was going to WD, so I'll give him credit for playing. But to have any expectation that he was going to bring his A game was just too much of an ask. And so I faded him quickly.
Right.
So to his credit, he played well.
That was the extent of my quote unquote expert analysis. It just feels like a travel letdown spot, which
without question.
When you're what is he, 24, 25 years old?
Yep.
We forget that their body heals faster than even the way that my body heals at 30 years old. Do you think he solidified his spot on the Ryder Cup team? Because I was already in that camp before 3M.
I wasn't in that camp before 3M, but 3M sealed the deal. I was in the camp saying he's probably going to get on there because there just aren't that many good alternatives. And for a guy who is red hot, perfect course fit, has good pedigree. I mean, he was an excellent college player, so it's not like he came out of nowhere. So he's 100% on it now, unless some real crazy shit happens in the playoffs and like 2 or 3 guys win them that we didn't expect. I don't even think he's 12. I think he's like 10 on the team. So yes, he's 100% on there.
Okay, I'm going to do a lot more on the Ryder Cup starting next week. I'm going to do like a 2-part Ryder Cup pod that I think people are really going to enjoy, where I really break down the team and make real arguments for those final couple of spots. But are you down to do like 10 to 15 minutes of Ryder Cup, and then we'll finish off with the Wyndham?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I wrote my rankings for the newsletter last week. Can I give you my team, and then I want you to, we'll go tier by tier, and then I want you to tell me where you agree, disagree, find flaws, who you would change.
Yep.
Makes sense.
I'm game.
So let's start with the Americans. Auto 6 qualifiers on the team: Scheffler, Xander, Spahn, Henley, Bryson, Harris English. It seems like there's a chance that Bryson may fall off, but I consider him a lock at this point.
Without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
Okay. So those are the 6 qualifiers. Now, number 7 and 8, my next category is not auto qualifiers, but I believe that these players are locks on the United States team, and whatever happens over the FedEx Cup playoffs, it doesn't matter. These guys are on the team. And for me, those 2 guys are Justin Thomas and Keegan Bradley. I think Keegan, at this point, for all intents and purposes, everything that I've heard, he's picking himself.
Assuming he's picking himself, because that would change the whole argument if he decides I'm not playing. Without a doubt, they're both on. It's discouraging, and I would actually put Morikawa in that tier too.
Okay.
It's discouraging that JT, who is decidedly mediocre this year, except for his win, is a lock, but he is a lock. Yes, that's what I mean. He's not a big game player anymore, but he is a lock because, again, there's no one even close to bumping him off. And same thing with Keegan. Keegan's had a solid year, has the win. He absolutely should be on if he wants to play, which I'm assuming he is.
Okay, and so you would add Morikawa into that category as well, where you believe that there's nothing that Morikawa does, positive or negative, over these next 3 weeks. Morikawa is on the team.
I am, because I'm a Morikawa crazy fan. I will be dining out on Morikawa.
Become the least likable.
Oh, yes. No, former. I meant to say former. I made so much money off of him in 2020, 2021. I mean, I'll be dining out on him for years to come still. And I have turned on him hard. I am so down on him. His game, his attitude, his approach, everything about him turns me off. Yet, he still has the elite skill set. And there just aren't any guys who have an elite skill set left. So I make him a lock. I wish there were more guys who stepped up, but there's just not, especially when there's a few guys on the team who I think are lesser than.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, he's the number 1 player in my next category, which is on the team for now. And these are spots 9 through 12. And I have Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, Sam Burns, and Chris Gotterup. And this category for me is, if we were picking tomorrow, these would be the 4 guys that get the spot. But what happens over these next couple weeks in the FedEx Cup playoffs matters. Like, their spot is not secured. I do believe that I don't think that they need to like do anything insanely crazy. I think the spot is there, and it's going to come down to how this next tier performs. But those are my 9 through 12. Cantlay, Morikawa, Burns, Gotterup. Your thoughts?
Morikawa, Gotterup, absolutely.
Yeah. Cantlay. Cantlay needs to be sold on a little bit.
Cantlay should not be on the team. He is living off of reputation and reputation alone. And don't give me his bullshit top 20s when he's playing only in SIG events with no cuts. He's played once in the last 6 weeks, and he's not playing this week. Yeah. So he's not going out and trying to get it, and he's just not that good anymore. And yes, his performance, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, absolutely. The way he showed up in Rome, and I can't even remember where it was, Wisconsin 4 years ago? wherever it was.
He was really good at whistling strikes.
He was absolutely great. But then again, everybody on that team is great. So I'm going to kind of not give him much credit for that. That said, I would put him on there now. He is, he's my first cut if anybody else steps up. And who else did you have? Burns?
Burns is, I have Goddard up in the 11th spot, and I have Burns 12th.
I'll say this about Burns, Cantlay, and Griffin.
Okay, so
the two who play the best of those three, if nobody else, and there's obviously other guys who can come in and crash the party, but if it was just those three for 2 spots, I would probably bump Burns. But if you bump in Griffin, I'm not really gonna, or even if you bump Cantlay, I'm not gonna really argue. All three of those guys I put on the same tier of whatever. But I would put Griffin over Burns, but I'm not gonna. That's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
Okay, so we're very aligned because my next group is the bubble. And what I would call it is if you choose any of these 5 guys over the players that are ranked 9 through 12, I wouldn't have a significant problem with it. I think if any of these 5 players significantly outplay players 9 through 12 during the FedEx Cup playoffs, then they can very easily take that spot, including even Goddard up, I think. If one of these guys
if several of them show up, even Gotti is not 100% safe. I'd put him at 99.
Agreed. So for this tier, I have 5 guys, and you tell me where you disagree with me here. 13, Ben Griffin. So I'm kind of with you. Between Burns and Griffin, 12 and 13, that can go either way. I think whoever plays better over these next 3 weeks is going to get that spot. And obviously, you have Griffin in the field this week.
I mean, but if you want to argue Griffin needs to show a little recent form, because he has tailed off a lot. Yeah. He does need to show it. So if you're saying that, then I would be like, you're right. Absolutely right. I think that question will be answered decisively in the playoffs, though, or even this week.
And Burns had his opportunity as the tournament favorite at the 3M to show that he was like a guy, and he significantly underperformed. So we'll see how Griffin does as a tournament favorite, one of the tournament favorites at Wyndham. I have also in this category, it's Ben Griffin, Matt McNeely, Jordan Spieth, Daniel Berger, Akshay Bhatia. Okay. So these 5 guys, I believe if any one of those 5 guys really turns it on over the next couple of weeks, like we're talking Spieth, because the next category is Hail Mary. I'm not saying that these guys need to win, but I'm talking like 2 top 10s and 3 starts from a guy like Jordan Spieth or Daniel Berger to really have a case to take one of these spots.
Yeah, Spieth, again, he does have pedigree, and right. There is value to that. So he probably doesn't need to do much as Ashke. But that said, or Berger even. Even though Berger does have experience, he's got to show he's back, because talk about a guy who's fallen off in the last few months. I mean, I went back and looked at his stats when I was going over it, and he's had a really good year, but he needs to show some form and some really good form to get out.
Yeah.
But you're right. He doesn't need a win, but he definitely could use a top 5 or top 10 or something along those lines.
He needs to finish top 10 in Memphis, because that's a golf course he's won at twice. And like, that should be the barometer for Berger. Like if you play well in Memphis, I'd
say the same thing with Ashke. I mean, he's actually coming on a little bit. He showed some good form, but are you really sold on him yet? I need to see a little bit more of him. He could do it this week. Or wait, is he in this week?
Yeah, he's in this. Okay. He's in this week. I don't love him on this golf course. I like him on the golf course. I don't love him.
I don't think he needs to win a tournament to get on, like some of the long shots when you talk about. But he definitely needs to show a little bit more. Who's the other guy?
Matt McNeely, who another huge disappointment last week.
Yes, absolutely. And I just don't get him. Is he good at golf? I mean, he's good at golf. I'm not saying he's not good at golf, but he's been flirting with, like, I want to enter that tier of the sub-elite. They got, the top guys.
Right.
And then you got that next tier of 20 guys, and he was knocking at the door all year, and he just hasn't sold me. So hasn't sold me in the majors and all that. So, yeah, he can get on. I think he needs to win a tournament to get on.
Yeah, so that's fair. You are probably then putting Akshay in this final category for me, which is life support. And these are 6 guys where I believe they need to win a FedEx Cup playoff event And if they win a FedEx Cup playoff event, they're back in the mix. Like, I'm not even saying a win gets these guys on the team, but they deserve enough respect that if they get really hot and pull like a Lucas Glover, where he went back to back at Wyndham and Memphis, they still deserve to be in that conversation. Here are my 6 guys: Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon, Cameron Young, Tony Finau, Max Grazerman, Denny McCarthy. I believe that if any of these 6 guys win, like, if Denny wins this week, or if Cameron Young or Tony Finau or Wyndham Clark win this week, then they re-enter out the bubble. Yeah, but it needs to be a win.
I would put Harmon up in a higher class though than these guys. I don't think he needs a win. He gets a couple top 10s in the next 4 tournaments.
Right.
He's on the team.
That page, though.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying, based on the year he's had, I think he's a little higher up. Like, Finau is a name, but boy, has he been dog shit. So, he needs a win. And I would agree with you on all those guys. I was prepared to say Knapp, but he's not quite at that level yet. If he wins, I'm going to say, okay, then I need a top 5 at East Lake. He needs something exceptional on top of a win in the playoffs. He's not going to win this week. So, but you want to know who I'm going to add to it?
Who would you?
And this is fucking horrifying, but I will die on this hill. If Brian Campbell wins a tournament, he is on the team. 3 wins in a year. I don't give a shit about your pedigree, your shots game challenge, any of that shit. If you win 3 times on the PGA Tour, it's so fucking hard to win one tournament. 3 times in a year, throw it all out. He is on the team. Because if it's going to be based on merit, and that's what Keegan was brought in for, to break the old boy network, where it's about networking and Jay Tizzle with Zach Johnson and all that, and he's just going to look at the bare bones, you got to put a guy, you got to reward him for that. I don't think he's going to win the next 4 weeks, even though I did bet him this week just in case. But yes, a guy who wins 3 times on tour, I don't care if he's a terrible fit, and he is, because he won in Mexico where he's a terrible fit. Right. Brian Campbell is in that category of Hail Marys.
Right.
Which is horrifying.
My only argument would be course fit. I just don't think it's a good spot for him at Bethpage. We'll do let's do are you down to do the Euros quickly? Because I want to finish with
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's do the Euros.
This is actually kind of turns out kind of boring compared to what we thought in like February. Like, it's kind of a lot more set than the US.
I agree. So Europe auto qualifiers: Rory, Bobby Mack, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, easy money.
Yep.
Okay, locks. I have 4 of them. And these are, again, they're not technically auto qualified, but they're on the team no matter what happens over the next couple of weeks. John Rahm. Without question. Ludwig, Victor Hovland, and I think Matt Fitzpatrick's a lock now. I think I just
a month ago I would have said that's the stupidest take in the world, but you got to respect the quality he's shown.
Yeah,
and he is playing excellent golf, and we'll actually be talking about that at Wyndham in a little bit, where I did a really weird pivot. But yes, without question, they all are. You can argue that Aberg and Hovland have been vastly disappointing this year, and I think they have been, but still say they are without doubt a class ahead of whatever else we might discuss.
Right.
So, 100% important.
When Matt Fitzpatrick is playing in one of the final 2 groups over the weekend at 2 of the 4 majors this year, I mean, Fitzpatrick was in the top 5 at the Open Championship from start to finish. Like, he was a wire to wire second or third. Him and Haotong were just in second and third place for that entire tournament. Fitz is a proper player. He's playing some great golf. We'll talk about how we think he plays at the Wyndham very shortly, but I think he's on the team.
100% locked now. Absolutely.
Okay. So, and then next category, these are the guys that are 11, 12. It's the same criteria for the US side. These guys are on the team for now, but the next category, if they outperform them, they're vulnerable. So for me, the 11 and 12 spots, and this is, I'm kind of playing it safe on both sides because I still don't know how the course is going to be set up. Is it going to be set up to favor more accurate players or favor more bombers. I'm not totally sure on that yet. So I basically picked one super accurate guy and one super long guy to cover all of your bases. I went Aaron Rye and Nikolai Hosgaard for 11.
Nikolai over Rasmus?
I think so. I think he's,
okay.
I mean, statistically, he's been a little better than Rasmus.
Yeah, I confuse the two of them. Whenever I'm like thinking of betting them, I have to go back and look at their results and all that. I do confuse the two of them. So if you say Nikolai gets in over Rasmus, I won't have an argument. Rye, do something this week. Do something in the playoffs. I mean, he's been kind of shitty for this year. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I would have said a month ago, I put Rose in over him. But
Rose 13. Rose,
yeah, and I do think there's value in bringing a veteran on a road game more than bringing in a veteran on a home game. So bringing in Rose, who's been through it all in New York, does have value, but he's been absolute shit for a while too. So I would go Rose over Rye, but I'm not going to fight you over it. Let's see how the playoffs play out.
Very fair. Rye is a pick for me mainly as like a specialist. I think that he's like a guy, you know, Sepp Straka kind of played this role for them last year where Sepp wasn't how we look at Sepp this year now. Like Sepp was more of kind of an accuracy specialist last year that not a lot of people had high hopes for at the Ryder Cup. He was kind of the guy that was, you're going to put up, you know, to play,
play twice
matches against Brian Harman. And Straka was awesome. I think Rye could play that role if the golf course is set up to favor accuracy. So, you know, my 13, my bubble and 5 guys that I think, you know, they can take the Rye or Hosgaard spot, but they need to outplay them. Justin Rose, Rasmus Højgaard, Harry Hall, Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson, and Alex Noren, who's sneakily, just keep an eye on Alex Noren. He finished top 10 last week. Yeah.
I don't think with the injury, he hasn't played enough. I don't think he has a realistic shot.
That's fair.
But I did take a good long look at him for this week, and I didn't quite get there. But I see where you're coming from. I mean, you're betting more on what you know Noren can do, assuming he's back and healthy, which he appears to be. So I get that. That said, he doesn't quite have the elite status. He would have to really, like, maybe win this week, for example, really step up to snag a spot.
How legit you think Harry Hall is next?
Everybody loves Harry Hall in the Discord. If you want to join ISN, want to join ISN, people, and you're a fan of Harry Hall, you will find a welcome place. So
find your people. Shout out.
Absolutely. So Dave absolutely. I'm a fan of him. I just never get to him. So I'm not terribly equipped to get excited over him on the Ryder Cup. Again, I'd go with Rose, but just like we were talking with the Americans, there is still a pretty important 3-4 week audition going on with these guys. And, you know, a Harry Hall win or even a top 5 and then a good playoff run, all of a sudden would definitely vault him in the competition. And there's something he said about having that one, you know, the accuracy guy who, even if the course is set up for bombers, he pairs up well with particular players and all that. So, like, if you just put both Højgaards on there, you might find yourself limited if, like, certain situations arrive with the weather or the course is playing different. So there is value in taking a Rye or a Rose or a Hall guy to be that 12th guy. Right. And if the course doesn't set up well for him, he's playing once and then singles.
Right. I'm lower on Harry Hall than the Discord is. I don't think he's a totally proper player. He's an elite putter, and the ball striking still comes and goes for him. So I'm going to need to be sold on Harry Hall. But
he's a 4A player.
Right.
In that he's good if the course is good and the competition isn't too daunting. And that doesn't sound like a guy you love for the Ryder Cup.
Right. Yes, but he's played well enough to be in the conversation. Okay, life support. They need to win. And I have 2 live guys on here as well. So I don't think anything on live matters. So they're probably cooked. I just put them in because of their high upside talent. And you never know with the Europeans. Like, they will really prioritize data. So I think there are some kind of data darlings with high upside based on course fit that I just have in there from, a course fit specialist perspective. But I think these guys are really life support, and it's Matt Wallace, David Puig, Tom McKibben, Thomas Dietrich, Marco Penge, Christopher Rytan.
Rytan is way too new.
You're probably
now
right.
if they were at home and you want to like get a guy on there and prep him for the next one, that I would, but I would not take him on the road to Ryder Cup, especially when it's going to be a pretty competitive one. Dietrich, talk about a no-show after, what did he win? Amex, or he won early in the year?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my, people were like, he's a Ryder Cupper. And what's he done for the last 6 to 8 months? He does have a course fit. I mean, he's a great course fit guy. I just don't have faith he will show up in a big event. I think he's a fucking loser. That's just my thoughts. And then it's just so hard. Like McKibben's not ready. Wallace, I think he's a quadruple A player too, where get him in a lesser field on a course that he likes, he can compete. I don't see him stepping up. And I don't know about those live guys. I can't really, like Puig. I know nothing about Puig except for, he finishes 20th place at the live a lot. And I don't know how to analyze that. So live guys needed to make their mark in the majors. And if they did, I'd consider them. And if they didn't, I'm not. And that's why, same with Reed on the U.S. side. You want to know what? Show something. He didn't. I mean, he did it at the Masters, but then nothing else. So I'm not anti-live, but it's just not a way to prep and for us to be impressed. So I wouldn't take any other live guys except for the two no-brainers.
I'm with you. I'm not going to fight you on any of those points. Let's finish up with a little bit of Wyndham. Like we kind of alluded to at the top, very predictable tournament, or at least it played out that way last year.
Last several years, really. I talked about that on the podcast where it was like for 3 years straight, you pretty much had the preeminent driving accuracy and middle iron guy who was in good form win the tournament. Lucas Glover, Tom Kim, Aaron Rai. You'd think I'd be on all three of those guys. I was only on Rai, but all of the three guys were very popular options. Glover, not as much, but Tom Kim was absolutely on the chart that week. I think I may have stupidly faded Tom Kim because he was so popular. And my brother hit him good 2 years ago, so he still reminds me of it.
Right.
Yep.
And it was Tom Kim's kind of coming out party.
Yep.
I actually quite like him this week. He didn't make my betting card, but I do really like him as a DFS play. So, okay. So talk me through, is your card complete? Have you made all
Yes, it is complete. I'm going to actually call it up on my phone just so I can check on it. So don't worry, I'm not tweeting.
Okay. So I do enough talking about mine, and I will butt in with some opinions from time to time, but I want you to walk me through your card and we can kind of discuss, and I will share my thoughts if I think it's a good or a bad bet. So lead us off here at the top.
Now I'm going to start not at the top. I'm going to go a little out of order because this is the narrative on how I got to my bets. First one, I don't like this bet. If you're watching, don't tell. But as many people know in the Discord and on Twitter, I am a Posty diehard.
I know you.
And he's won here. Is talk about a perfect course fit and all that. Yeah. But he's broken. His putter is broken. Okay, and that's his elite strength. And if you look at him at John Deere and at Portrush, who I actually liked him well before Portrush, he just no-showed. So could he pop with his putter? Absolutely, but he should be 90. Yeah. Oh no. But no, it's broken, so it doesn't matter. He needs a full reboot. Maybe he needs a lab putter. I don't know. He definitely needs a couple months off from playing. So if you were 90-1, yeah, maybe I still bet him. Mostly because Kirshner on TAB talked shit about him, man. I got pissed, so I fired down because I'm not going to let anybody talk bad about Posty except me. But don't bet it. So this is just me. FOMO money on, without a doubt, my favorite golfer in the world, which is Posty. So he's number one.
Can I just ask with you?
It was 2022 JDC, and we had a family vacation that week. I was driving my 80-year-old dad down to Outer Banks. So I knew I wasn't going to be watching much. So I just did a single bullet bet. Didn't do any research. I like Posty, $200. I think, what was he, like 45 or 50 to 1? And I probably watched 6 holes of the whole tournament, and he just boat raced the field. I mean, I think he shot like a 62 and never looked back. And it was just like the easiest, no sweat bet. I'm sitting there on the beach with my nieces and all that, watching my phone, and I wasn't nervous the whole time. So it went from I like Posty to Posty's my guy. And then this year, I talked myself into, beginning of the year, he wasn't putting, but his irons were so good early on. And I will say this, he is now an elite driver of the ball accuracy. He used to be good at it. He turned himself to maybe a top 20 guy, non-bomber, so it has to be a course fit. And that's why he showed up in the majors this year. And so I talked myself into this was going to be the big year for Posty. And I hyped him up huge for Heritage. And Travelers, I still was on him. By the time John Deere came along, which is another place he's won. Well, yeah, he won. I already kind of knew the writing was on the wall. So I bet him hard. I already had all the futures on him at the Open, but by then I knew 2025 is not going to be the year. But we go back to Wyndham, perfect course fit. He's won here. What, he won 6 years ago. So I'm still going to bet him out of loyalty. I have zero expectations for that bet.
Fair enough. Okay. Let's get to it.
Yes, let's now. I just burned $50, lit it on fire. My second bet, and I was talking about it in the Discord hard. I love this bet. I way overbet it. I bet way too much on it. I tend to do that. That's why I am not sharp. I'm a square. I let my fandom get in the way. And when Eck wrote, I thought was going to open at 80, open at 130, I doubled down on it. So I've got like 25 grand. And I will sell hard. I don't need to sell hard. You're with me. A lot of people are. He is Morikawa 2020 light. He's not elite like Morikawa was, but accurate off the tee and absolutely light it up on approach. I mean, just smoke it. And then he's a good old-fashioned spike putter. Like, his putting stats suck. But if you go round by round or tournament by tournament, there are periods where, for whatever reason, he has it figured out. And he goes from a terrible putter to an actual good putter. He'll have like +3, +4 strokes gained in the tournament. He does that, and his approach is on, he's going to fire. Now, he's had a few really good spike putting rounds. JDC, he actually had 3 good rounds, including a great one. Just couldn't finish it off. So you take him to Wyndham, where he played well last year, perfect course fit. He is ready to pop. If we can get 2.5 strokes gained putting out of him, which is certainly possible, he's winning this tournament. Because his approach, I think he was 7 strokes gained at JDC. Travelers, he was like 6.5 strokes gained. His approach is great. His irons or his tee, he's super consistent, just middle of the fairway. He will eat this week if we can get a good putting. And I, just like you saw how Kitayama was trending, Eckroat is trending. And this is the week I think he pops. Don't go crazy like I did with 2 units, but I love that bet.
I'm completely with you. I bet him as well at 110 to 1. And I've been a big Eckroat believer. I was not on him when he got either of his 2 wins, and I really want to change that because, I mean, I used to, my old roommate, when I first moved to Los Angeles, he's from Oklahoma, and grew up playing the golf club Oak Tree National that all of those Oklahoma State guys played at. So, you know, Victor Hovland, Matthew Wolff, Chris Ventura, Austin Eckroat, they all kind of overlapped for a little bit at Oklahoma State, and they would all play that golf club. And he used to tell me, like, this Eckroat kid, who's a couple years behind Matthew Wolff and Victor Hovland, he'd beat Victor Hovland straight up in money games all the time. Like, it was kind of a thing at the club where Eckroat was like, he kind of like had Hovland's number a little bit, and everyone was like, yeah, you know, he may not end up being Hovland, but damn, he can fucking hang with him.
He has an elite skill, and that's what you look for. I mean, his approach, when he gets going, he can lead the field, and he probably has multiple times. I had him at Cognizant last year, which was great because it was right after I dropped 6,500 on Juan, so it was nice to win $3,000 back. But yeah, and you're trying to time. You don't try to time Scheffler or Xander. When you bet them, you're like, they're already at their peak. They're already winning tournaments. That's why I'm betting them. You go dipping into the 80s, 90s, 100s, you're trying to time these guys' peak. And everything I know about betting mid-level or higher odds guys says this is how you're timing it. If Eckroat's going to pop, this will be the week he does it. And again, you should spread it out. Never go single bullet on a 110 guy or 2 units like an idiot like me. But if you're trying to time a win with a lower odds guy, this week is the week to get on Eckroat. So,
okay, next guy.
Next guy, this is an injury bet. He was lighting it up, perfect fit, putter, accurate, good approach. He had to withdraw from John Deere. He's played since then not well, but they haven't been good courses, and that's Putnam.
I like it a lot.
Sitting at 90. If he hadn't got injured and then played like Genesis, he wasn't going to do well at Genesis. He should be like 60. So, and that's what I did. I looked at a lot of guys. Glover absolutely can win here, but why bet Glover at 35? Putnam, who is at 90, I think has not same win equity, but close enough. Seabass I wanted to get on, but I got on too late. What did he do that?
I got Seabass at 90. He got.
Oh, man, I'm so bitter. If I had seen that 90 and thought about it, I would be all over it. But
okay,
he was.
You listened to the Sunday pod, and you know the guy.
I was frothing in the mouth over Eckroat, so I couldn't remember that. But now he's down to 55, and I'm like, no, I'd rather go with guys who are 100, who maybe they don't have the same win equity in my mind as Seabass, but it's not twice as much. So if Seabass was at 90, I would have hit it without question. That is a really good bet.
It also wasn't. It wasn't just the ISN. You know, he Data Golf loved him too. Like I think he's kind of popping in all sorts of models.
And if you look at his recent results, he looks like a guy who, again, he's not going to be a consistently good guy. That's why he's not a top 20 player.
Right.
Like Seabass is going to have his ups and downs like every other guy. And you're trying to get the guy on the upswing, beat the data. And he is a guy who you fire on. Absolutely. I actually might go just do a taste, just out of respect for you, even though it's 50 now, which is not a great number, just because I have a little FOMO now.
No one cares if you hit the bet at 50 or 90 to 1. I get closing line value like significantly on almost every bet that I make, and it doesn't help me hit win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, bet the actually that's not fair to say that completely, but bet the player, not the number, to some extent. If you're really on a guy, don't get off of them because of a price. And then today, I did a pivot.
Okay, let's hear your next guy.
I looked at the top of the board, and it's a fair top of the board. The guys who are the favorites deserve to be the favorites because they're quality golfers. But most of them, I was like, not here, not at that price. But one guy I couldn't get off of, and that's Matty Fitz. Because Matty Fitz is trending. He's going to win a golf tournament soon the way he's playing. Matty Fitz clearly has an elite skill set from the rest of these jabronis that we're talking about down here. And I was like 20 to 1 for a guy who you think is the best player in the field, and I do think he is the best player in the field, who is actually playing well, and it's a really good course fit. 20 to 1 is actually not a terrible price. So I didn't bet it heavy, but I bet it enough to where he's not going to ruin my week. So all the guys I really like at the hundreds, I don't want to have Fitzy come out and just do Fitzy things. Like Bobby Mack, I love Bobby Mack. Not here. Who else is up the top? I can't even remember now. Keegan, who I like, but
Decky.
Yeah, Decky, who I don't even bet Decky anymore because nobody can predict Decky. Decky can't.
He's
but Fitz was the one guy who I looked at and was like, and I never bet chalk ever. I'm always middle to high odds, except for majors. And I was like, I can't get off of him. Every time I looked, I was like, shit, am I being stupid? And I do think we overlooked him because 20 to 1 for Fitzy on this course with this field, I think that's actually pretty good value. So I actually went and I put half a unit on him.
I think it's a fair number. He is, for what it's worth, my favorite guy at the top if I had to choose. He'll be in my DFS pool. So I've got no problems with that. Do you have anyone else?
I think I tailed BK on Kirk. And then I also, actually, it's funny, David Lipsky.
Yeah, it's
Monday.
a big pile bet.
But here's the thing. On Monday, I go through it. I was like, Lipsky, 170 to 1. if that putter stays hot, he can eat this week. So I placed a bet. It was only after I placed a bet that I went and looked and forgot. I tailed you guys. Was it Kyle or RB?
Kyle.
Maybe both. Yeah, I tailed Kyle at 500 to 1, or Lipsky at 500 to 1 because Kyle on Sunday, I totally forgot. Just because when him and RB talk about some big number on Sunday, I don't think about it. I just click.
Yeah.
Those guys are really fucking smart.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot it. So I both am going to credit Kyle for the 500 to 1, while at the same time say I did actually get to Lipsky at 170 to 1. So I actually doubled down on him a little bit. So it'll be a big win.
I think RB is like the best, he's phenomenal on the PGA Tour, but he's amazing at like Korn Ferry, Challenge Tour.
Down the board shit. Yes.
He just knows those guys really well. If there's an up and comer, like go to him. He was like one of a good hire by me. If I don't myself, he's been awesome, and he's had an amazing.
And if you this talking to not you but people watching, DK posts the Sunday odds, and there are always 2 or 3 soft numbers if you know how to find them.
Correct.
And down board, I like to think I know. I do know pretty good down board, but RB in particular, he'll just pick out these guys who are I've never heard of. And so if he said, I've heard of Lipsky, but my gut reaction never would have been, oh my God, Lipsky. So when those guys say a guy, I'm just like, click auto bet. Yeah. I don't do a ton on it, but so I have a taste on Svensson because of RB, and I have a taste on Lipsky because of who did I get? Kyle. And I actually bet Lipsky again on my own. So I actually have 2 tastes on Lipsky.
Yeah. I thought about Svensson big time as well. He's going to be in my DFS pool, but I didn't end up firing on him outright. I'll give you one more guy on my card that I think this is a really sneaky good spot for him. Watch out for Davis Thompson this week at 70 to 1.
I get on and off him so much. Yeah. I mean, data when he's on, he looks like, why isn't this guy a top 20 player?
Really disappointing year though.
Yes, and the one time, I can't even remember the tournament, it's like a month ago, he actually finally got into contention on Sunday. He just totally no-showed.
Was that a championship, maybe?
No. It was more recent than that. It was a summertime tournament. And I didn't even have him, but I was like, and I always get scared to death when Davis Thompson's, because, again, he should be a top 20 golfer in the world. I mean, just with his game and all that, yet it's not there. And I don't get it. And so, what's he, 70?
Yeah, he's 70 to 1 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad bet. It's probably a good bet, but fuck him. I can't take Davis Thompson not meeting my expectations, because every time I bet him, he does not meet the expectations. Next time he's in a tournament, I'll do a deep dive into his numbers. I'll be like, holy shit, Davis Thompson is really good at golf, and then he'll shit the fucking bet again. So something in him, I don't know if he needs a new caddy or punch in the dick. Something needs to get right with Davis Thompson, because he should be on the Ryder Cup if he was meeting his potential. And obviously he's nowhere close.
I agree.
So,
Larry, this was an absolute pleasure, man. That's perfect timing, because I have to go finish up this article that I'm going to post out tomorrow morning. And if you love hearing Larry and I talk golf, you can get all of that in the Inside Sports Network Discord. Larry is one of our most beloved members. We love having you in there. You've been.
Let me make another sale point for ISN. Another sale point. I don't play DFS. I don't have the bandwidth for it. It's an enjoyable experience talking outrights.
Yeah.
And it's a valuable experience. But if you are in the DFS, it's not just the experts. I mean, you've got your staff. You got yourself.
Yeah.
There are probably 10 guys in the Discord who are just as goddamn smart at DFS as you guys. And like Tuesday, Wednesday, if you notice, I don't really contribute much, because that's when it gets into that deep dive of DFS. And even though I don't play, I just enjoy listening, because I still learn about players. It is, and you really need to bring that knowledge to DFS. And ISN Discord is just incredibly deep, in depth about stacking, about the players, all that shit that I don't pay attention to. But if you're in the DFS, ISN is fucking incredible. So I will make that pitch.
And like some of the best high stakes players too. Like I'm a smaller time player. I don't play I'm not investing like thousands upon thousands of dollars in DFS every week. But if you are more of a high stakes player, we got the best conversation from some of like the best DFS players out there.
And these guys are engaged. It's not like they're just bragging. They talk with each other about optimizing and all that other stuff. So just by listening,
right,
you're going to learn
completely agree. And I would say too, like, hey, even if you don't like me, if you don't like Larry, if you don't like Kyle, Rishi, Brian, I think it's still worth it because you need to know what other people are doing now, right? Because like the conversation is happening there. So even if you don't want to be a part of the conversation or you don't like us, it's very valuable just to know what all of those people are doing, and they'll tell you. Like, we're talking about it every single week. So I appreciate you saying that. It's been awesome. And like I said, we love having you in there. You were a phenomenal podcast guest as well.
I appreciate it. Anytime.
I love having you on. Hopefully the first of many. Do you have a Twitter account that you want to plug for anybody who wants some more Larry?
At Tom and Marty's. I'm out there. And again, I just never bothered to change my name. So if you want to call me Tom or Marty, I don't give a shit, or Larry. But you'll definitely find me. I love to live tweet during golf events. So come and follow me.
Larry, this is a blast. I can't wait to check out your bar someday. That is now a priority for me.
Actually, have you ever heard the name Hal Purdy in golf designing?
No. Oh, okay. That name, like, is he an architect?
Yes, we have one course. He was like the right-hand man for Robert Trent Jones.
Okay.
And like every time I play it, he basically built it. I always say this is the one course in Binghamton Andy Lack would probably really love. Like, it's not an elite level course, but just the architecture, you can see the thought behind it and all that. So if you're ever in Binghamton, I'll take you out to State Park and we can talk some golf.
I'd love
bring that Kirshner too, because I want to take his ass on. Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring Kyle too. That'll be fun.
All right.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. Thanks for having me on.